Oh, Lord, this is going to just go the wrong way.
Have you ever smelt men's balls?
Because I'm not actually a human being. I'm a single object.
This is where I think feminism has gone too far.
Maybe you just put on weight, Tez.
Okay, thanks, Sue. G.
I've got a big... A boo-boo.
It's a LaBuBu.
A LaBuBu.
Yes.
What is it?
I can't believe you actually have one. I'm judging you.
Welcome to The She Word, conversations that women rarely have but really should. I'm your host, Trudy Kerr. And at The She Word, we like to keep things lively. And this show promises to be very lively. I'm going to call this episode of the show The She Word After Hours, because in this show, I'm going to sit down with three women who aren't afraid to share their thoughts on current topics and challenges facing women today. And I invite you to join in the conversation in the comments on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or TikTok. And if you'd like to join future episodes of the After Hours editions of The She Word here at the table, drop me a line. But for now, I'm joined by three women who are no stranger to the she word. Tez Salina. Hello, my friend.
how are
Tez is an actress, a teacher. I'm very reluctant to a singer. I'm reluctant to say mum because you were in the most recent episode of the Mums Show and you made your opinion very, very clear.
But don't be reluctant. I'm quite
about-
proud of
Okay,
that.
she's a mum.
Yes, but I'm not only a mum. That's
You
all.
were very outspoken in that episode, and it's one of the reasons that we're having this show here. Tez, you are no stranger to the she word. How many times have you been on the she word?
Or, I don't know. Quite
Okay.
a few times.
Quite a few times.
So it's always a pleasure to be here, though.
It's always a pleasure to have you. Sue Caruana. Hello, darling.
Hello.
Sue, you are you are behind my time, but also you are behind the Keeping It Real reels that we had up until last year with the she word, which was amazing. This is just you in front of a camera speaking your mind, which is exactly why you are here. You've also been on the she word as well.
I have.
Fantastic.
I love
Glad
it.
to have you here. And Emily Jones, you are an old timer with the she word as well.
Yeah, it's also been quite a few episodes.
Quite a few episodes, and also the very first edition of The Warriors is
That's
all
right.
about you
It's
too.
something different.
Absolutely. Well, listen, ladies, I'm so excited to have you at the table because I know that you guys are going to share your thoughts on some really amazing topics. And I'm excited because I know that you won't hold back. And first of all, with that in mind, Sue, what the hell have you got in front of you? This is our first topic. What is this? It's a what? A boo-boo.
It's a LaBuBu.
A LaBuBu.
Yes.
What is it?
I can't believe you actually have one. I'm judging you.
Oh,
But what is it? Can we find out what it is first?
Okay, so there is this trend about these little, I don't know what you
Ugly
call it.
looking monsters
Yes,
that
yes,
you attach
characters,
on
yes,
your
and
handbag.
you attach it onto your sort of handbag or whatever.
So it's a large keyring.
An ugly
Yes, it
large
looks-
key
it
ring,
looks-
my way,
no,
yeah.
I mean, because you see, I have this handbag which has this thing here that is specifically for attaching things like that. See, see it now? See how good it looks?
Yes, okay.
And-
Let's go
and-
with that. Looks
and-
really good.
And then you can buy loads of outfits for it as well.
So at the moment it's
Loads of
naked.
outfits. At the moment it's naked, yes.
Astra.
Okay, so
I like it
it's a
naked
keyring.
and- Yes.
It's a keychain sort of thing.
Yes.
Or-
yes.
or a
You can
handbag
put your
accessory.
keys, but I mean, if you put your keys on it, you're just going to ruin it. Eh? Basically, what you want to do is dress it up, and you attach it to your handbag, and it kind of like hangs.
No,
there.
basically
And
what
it's
you
a
want to do
big-
is get it and throw it in the bin. That's very krach. It's really ugly. I'm sorry, but I really don't
Listen,
get
you
this
either
trend.
love them or you hate them. Okay.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I feel a little bit like I'm kind of torn because on the one hand, I appreciate the like maximalist movement that we're moving towards, like
The what?
chart-
The
the maximalist. Like
What is
it's
that?
in. So we're done with the kind of like beige minimalist, like not having lots of things around us and charms and things
You're
like that.
talking in terms of fashion or in terms of
Yeah, in
everything?
terms of fashion and the general kind of landscape, I would say, like home things. Even,
Yes.
like kind of we
More
have this
is more,
space-
not
Yeah.
less is more.
Do-
More
okay.
is more. More is more.
Do you remember when the like things about Kim Kardashian's house came out, and they showed like that she had these sinks that, you know, you can't even see the tap and the water just sort of appears out of nowhere. And it's almost like they have nothing on the counters and things like that, right?
Very
That was
minimalist,
very minimalist. And I feel like that was very much the trend, right? That was the thing. But now the tide is turning and we have this new obsession with like a maximalist culture. So we're wearing all our jewelry. We've got charms on our necklaces, charms on our bracelets.
But why?
But
It's super
loads of
tacky.
Yeah.
I'm still in the beige
I
era.
disagree. I think it's like kind of giving a little bit of personality to.
Does anyone actually give a shit? I mean, do people actually follow that? Do people follow that trend? Do you not just get a sink because you like a sink? And what?
Yeah, but it's more about this idea that everything's out of sight, right? So
Yeah.
now there's this thing, and there's this amazing like social media group. There's a young lady who like runs it, and it's called Girls Who Cluster, but it's become like a noun.
And what, it's like a hoarder? Like
Girls who cluster, not hoarder, but it's like, for example, you know, you've got like, it's like you imagine maybe what like Carrie Bradshaw's apartment would look like, right? So
Okay.
she's got like little bowls with like some matches from a nice hotel and her keys and her lipstick, all your things that are you and that you feel are like part
Did
of your
that ever go out of fashion? Was
I
it
was
ever in
always-
fashion? Because that's
it
me.
did.
That is-
Yeah.
People would put things away. But everybody's like, oh, you want it to look clean and
as
neat.
though no one actually
and
lives
as if
there.
nobody actually lives there. For example, like this
No,
Kim
I was
Kardashian
always-
sing.
I was always the maximalist.
Well, that's why you like the LaBuBu trend and the putting things on your bag. You remember bag charms? Like we used to do that way back in the day.
That's a very
it's
2000s thing,
yes,
yeah?
but it's coming back just like all of that kind of stuff is now. You know, people are putting like little cherry charms on their bags and like jewelry and stuff. And I like it. And Sue and I were talking about this earlier, that we like that kind of comforting vibe that comes from like a woman with like
the noise
the
it makes.
clacking noises, you know, like your nails
How
and
is
your
that a
jewelry
comfort?
and the
How
and the
is that a
bag.
comfort?
I just
know.
like
I guess
it.
different
I like
strokes for
it.
different folks,
I
but
just
No,
like
genuinely,
it.
but what comforts you? Because, okay, wait a bit.
Hmm.
What comforts you if you are listening to somebody walking and you hear that clink, clink, clink? You're like, okay, it's not a freaky guy. It's not a weird guy. It's a woman. She's one of us. Is that
no,
it?
it's nothing
I
like
wouldn't
that.
say comforting is the right word for it. I wouldn't say it's comforting, but I like the noise. When I have multiple bracelets on, for example, I like the noise. Every time I move, I hear them going chling.
Yeah, they
yeah.
Love it.
irritate me, eh?
There you go.
I love it.
But that's the same thing with the nails thing, right? Like there's a lot of people who like that kind of content
On their
where you're
phone,
sort of
like,
clack,
oh,
clack,
my, how I
clacking.
No,
Yeah.
I'm with her.
Well, there
I
you
am with
go.
Tez. I can't bear
Hate
that on
it.
nail.
Trude,
on the
I
face.
hate it.
I think it's like a personality thing. Like some
Okay.
people like it, some people hate
You're
it.
leading me down a path because I'm thinking about also when people don't have their phone switched on silent, so when they press the keyboard and it makes the noise.
Okay, that's different.
irritating. That's
okay.
irritating.
The message coming in, especially on a chat.
No, that's my phone is always on
We're all
silent.
agreed on that. That's great. But I want to come back to this boo-boo thingy. What it is.
LaBuBu.
LaBuBu. Okay, so it is. First of all, you still have the label on it, which I'm.
I don't think you're gonna want to
assuming
cut that off.
Okay,
Oh.
you don't cut it
But
off.
I never cut off labels, even on my clothes. Like I never cut off those things, and I never cut. I'm
do you
terrible
mean?
like that.
No, I don't cut off
No,
those
no,
doesn't
things.
mean
I
the
never
paper
cut
one.
them
She means
off.
the fabric labels. You know how some people like snip
So
them
no,
as soon.
that will stay on. You know.
Okay, but it's going to stay on it because it's an original something or other.
Yes.
I got two questions.
They're not easy to come by, are the originals? You have to wait. You don't just get. I mean, you have to wait. You have to be in a queue.
It's a coveted like.
You have to be in here, and you don't choose it. You buy it. It comes in a box. It's in the box in its wrapper, like in a twisty packet, let's say, and then you open it and you find what color you got.
That's part of the whole thing, the
Can't choose
surprise
it.
of
It's
which
a
one you're
Kinder
going to get.
Surprise, isn't
Yeah,
it?
they're collectibles.
Okay, so how much?
Collectibles.
Yeah.
Says I got to find it.
Of course.
How much?
Oh,
Well, it's 75 or 80 euros, something like
Sorry.
but there are some that go for like hundreds.
Go much
No,
more.
right?
no.
Because I got
hang on.
because I
How
got
much?
the small. This is the small basic one. This is the starter one.
This is the
So
peasant one.
75 or 80 euros, something
75.
like that. Yeah.
People are
75,
queuing up
80.
round the block, like waiting
Queuing,
all night
queuing.
to like get into shops.
The girl
might
that
have
I bought. So
unusual
there's a
ones.
girl that I know, a lady, and she's selling them in Malta. She gets them in. It's literally a queue behind her front door.
It's a hype
Q.
thing. It's a hype beast thing. It's
Q.
like
This is my point.
Yeah.
This is my point. It's a hype. So,
It
so what
is.
happens when this is no longer trending?
oh God, who cares? She's having
so-
fun with it. Let her
Now,
enjoy
wait,
it. And
I
that's
mean, look,
it.
I buy a pair of glasses
Yeah.
and then after 6 months I'm fed up with them. I mean, I'll buy it. I'll
Well, yeah,
use
but that's
it,
not
and-
all right either. That's not. I don't
Why?
like this culture, and I know you'll agree with
Well,
me
you think it's
as well.
consumerist.
For sure, it's quite.
Oh
way,
God, who
no.
cares? We're all gonna die. Like, just have a little fun. Like, if you like, do you know what I mean? Like,
No, I'm not with you
I'm
there.
with Tez.
all right, you don't want to buy
Wait,
endless
Stella,
So you
I'm-
buy a pair of specs. You're not wearing glasses. I buy specs. Look, for example, with specs,
I used to wear specs
They
for a
are
while.
my accessories. So I have loads of them. They're all in different colors. And then after a certain amount of time, they wear out or they break or whatever, and you have to throw it away and buy a new pair. But I mean, you get
But
fed
that's
up.
wear and tear. That's
or a
every day.
handbag. But even a handbag, today it might be your favorite, and next week you don't like it. And
Okay,
it-
okay. I'm
But
just.
if you buy
I'm going to
a
point
good
this
quality
out.
one.
I'm going to point this out. I have one handbag, and I only have one handbag at a time.
I vouch for that. It's true. I've gifted her
Serious?
handbags I've never seen on her.
But one handbag doesn't go for every occasion. You wear one handbag to a wedding, you wear it to
No,
you wear
okay,
it during the
I
day.
have
you
a
wear it
special
to work.
occasion
I have
one.
one special, two special occasion handbags because one's black and one's white. But apart from that, they never come out except for special occasions. We are drifting slightly off the point, but what happens when this is stopped trending? It's $75, though. That's
well,
a
she'll
lot
just
of
stop
money.
using it, I suppose. and
Can
then
you just
whatever.
throw it in the bin? What?
Or she'll put it in her cupboard
No,
somewhere,
I
probably
mean,
in
I might
20
keep
years'
it.
time.
I mean, I don't
Taking it
know
out
how
when
long.
they come
but
back
for
in
me,
fashion.
for me, it is going to be here. It's going to have its pride of place over here until maybe something else takes over. See? That's it.
I think it's more a statement of, oh, look, I can afford to buy a
Oh.
Oh, I'm
€5.
Oh, come on.
that I can afford a LaBuBu. My God, no, I
That's very
It's not
interesting that you would think. So you feel it's like a
As if.
status thing.
I totally did do.
Interesting.
Are you serious?
Really? See, I feel it depends.
Possibly don't care.
It depends who. It kind of depends who has it and what they're.
This is a bit like the Stanley Cup, you know? I feel like we're name dropping brands of right and center
But you
here.
see, I would never buy a Stanley
Let's
Cup.
not get started on the Stanley Cup.
That's a double standard. Big time.
Practical. You put stuff in it.
I have.
No, I'll buy a normal cup.
I
I'll
have
buy
several.
That makes no sense.
I have several Stanley Cups, and I am kind
several.
of.
How many have you got?
I think I got three. I've got three
In different colors, at least, I hope.
Yeah, obviously different colours, of course.
Listen, do you have the umbrella? Because I saw the summer Stanley version.
I
that you
think
can
that's
take it
all
for
a
the
bit. That's a
beach
bit
and-
much for me.
It's a cup, and you can get any brand of cup, and you can get a cup that does the same thing, which is cheaper. This,
Yeah.
is
Well,
No, I'm so not finish your point, but you have no point in my opinion.
Why? What's
At
so
least,
different about
at
the
least
Stanley
it's
Cup?
going to keep your coffee warm. It's going to keep your drink chilled. What is that going to do? What benefit? There's nothing practical about it.
Because you said it's about a status thing and about the Stanley Cup, and I said I would never buy a Stanley Cup, but you told me you would buy this. But they're different. One is something which is a cup, and
It happens
you
to
can
be
buy,
good, but at least.
But
it
there are
happens.
loads of other brands
There
that
are
are
other
good.
brands. Right, I
There are
give you that.
loads of other brands which do the same thing. They keep it hot, they keep it cold. For
Yeah,
example,
yeah,
I have loads of cups. Mine all come from Starbucks. Starbucks bring out a new one, and I get a new cup or whatever.
Allora, can't I argue
also
that
have
there are a
many of
bunch
those.
of.
But there aren't.
There are a bunch
No.
of different charms you
There-
can put on your
there-
handbag.
Of course, and I
Allora,
have them as well. But this
Why do
particular
you need to
one,
spend €75 on that ugly looking
this
one?
particular one is different. It's a charm, but it's different. But I mean,
Can I come back to the outfits before we move on to another topic? Because we have
yes, you
sat
can
and talked
buy
about.
all sorts of outfits, but they're all designer outfits. So they're all either Prada, Gucci,
Mushek. You're not going to buy them.
Louis.
Yeah, and can't you,
You know?
also put a little handbag on them and then get their
Yes.
handbag a LaBuBu? Because that's what I've seen as well.
Lame.
You can get a handbag LaBuBu for your LaBuBu.
But then I think you'd need the larger size one, right?
don't know,
I don't know because there
I
are
don't know,
different
because-
sizes. I don't know.
Honestly,
but
I don't know
mean,
why. Like, I haven't.
This is as far as I'll go, and I might get an outfit.
Okay, let's have a vote. LaBuBu or not to LaBuBu? If you're in, are you in for LaBuBu?
Don't look at
Obviously.
me. You thought I was
Yeah.
an ally. I am all for people doing what the F they want to do,
yes,
especially with
even
their bloody
I-
handbags. If they want to put a charm on it, put it on it. I think it's a bit of fun. I think like people take things so
That's it.
seriously. It's like whatever, just chill. Like if you want to get one, get one. Like it's fine.
It's not fine, but it's 75 euro.
I'm going to say, so you,
If it's
so
10
hang on
euro
a second,
for
hang on a
you.
second.
Well, it's 10 euros these days
Hang
anyway,
on,
Tez.
hang
What
on,
can you
hang
buy
on,
for
hang
10
on.
euros?
Tez, in or out?
Busted.
LaBuBu.
Out, my hands are way down.
I'm down. You're on the fence.
I don't want one personally, and I also, if I'm being honest, I feel like the phase is done. Like now, I feel like it's kind of coming
You're
to its
LaBuBu
Yeah, but
now.
you've had
Yeah,
yours for
so-
a while.
No, mine arrived today.
That is not what Sue wanted to hear.
No, I don't care. To be honest, let me tell you, because you were saying about the minimalist and the maximalist and whatever.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
about
more what
and
it's
about the phases and about the Kardashians, whatever. I don't follow the Kardashians. I don't follow
Fair.
any influencer.
Fair.
Nothing. I'm not influenced like that. I've always been a maximalist. So, for example, I went to get my ESPS, IPS 7 holes
Yeah,
and
yeah,
3
yeah.
holes. And I like to wear all 10.
Yes.
I like a lot. I don't wear one ring. I wear loads of rings. I don't wear one. Today I'm wearing one bracelet, but normally I will wear
You wear
loads.
an armful.
So whatever I do over the top.
Largely, okay.
That's the way I've always been.
And
It's
we
not
do
because-
love you for it. I'm
love
not
it.
surprised about this.
I
That's
love
okay.
it.
It doesn't mean that you have to follow the trends. It's more just like kind of that your style at the moment, it just happens to be the most popular one. Do you see what I mean? Like it's not that you're following it. It's just that what you're doing is just now people are on board.
Emily
with
Jones,
it.
LaBuBu, in or out?
Lisa.
I guess I have to say in. I mean, I don't want
Go,
one for
that's
myself,
it,
but I'm
that's it,
in.
that's
Yeah,
it,
why not?
okay.
If you want to get one, go for it. It's a bit of fun.
Good for
Life's
you.
short and bloody boring, so
Life is not boring. You definitely don't have a boring life.
Right,
Life is
guys, listen,
difficult,
I want to.
and
I
stressful.
genuinely want to ask you about something.
Oh my.
Take care and enjoy good health. Browns, empowering wellness by providing convenient and innovative health services.
Something about the way you bounce makes me want to keep you around my mind. My mind. Something about the way you sound shakes me up and makes me get down on my.
Welcome to Maison Perrier. Discover Maison Perrier Chic and enjoy our new non-alcoholic cocktail range. Maison Perrier. Enjoy our new sophisticated mocktails.
Durkos, recommended by dermatologists. Anti-hair loss protocol. A concentration of aminexil in a scalp treatment to reduce hair loss by 29%. And in a stimulating shampoo to boost volume by 48%. A potent synergy for hair 3 times stronger. Anti-hair loss protocol. By Durkos, the dermatological scalp and hair expert.
I'm not quite sure how to tackle this topic. There is a current trend that I'm seeing online at the moment in TikTok and also on Instagram, and it's about men jumping on board perimenopause and menopause. Okay. And they're saying, hey, listen, and they're talking in these conversations. If you haven't seen it, it's probably because you're not in menopause, but they're talking to other men. And they're saying, hey, guys, let's give our women a bit of a break, because if they're putting on, and usually it's these 4 symptoms. Are they putting on weight? Are they disinterested in sex? Are they moody and grumpy? Are they always tired?
I mean,
It's-
that's every woman ever
It's
who's
not-
having a bad day.
It's every man as well. Let's not
a bad day.
Hold on, because I haven't seen
So,
this.
and they're saying, let's give our women a bit of a break. They're in menopause, they're in perimenopause, etc., etc. Hear me out. I'm all for men getting on board and also shouting out to other men and saying, hey, listen, let's talk about menopause, perimenopause. And, you know, this is a real thing that's going to happen to every single woman. We're there, we know it, we understand it. The thing is, right, there's 65 known symptoms. And the men that are, I think, clickbaiting and jumping on the bandwagon are using these 4 symptoms that directly affect men. And my point being, if you want to jump on the bandwagon and you want to get on board with perimenopause and menopause, by all means, guys, come to our side, try and understand it. But using those 4 symptoms that directly affect men is really misleading.
What are the rest of the symptoms, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay.
No. Let me
fog, aging.
Let me ask. Wait a bit. My point is this: how do we know that they are only those 4 in particular that are affecting the men? There could be the rest of the 61 that do. I don't think they're picking on those 4 because they directly affect them. Because I think the other 61, you just mentioned fogginess. I mean, all of this could.
That also affects them. But also, for them to get on board or for them to talk about, don't they have to talk about the symptoms that do affect them? That's how they start. At least we're starting, because I feel, I am not very pro-men. It's not like I stick up for men very often, because I don't.
Just to be clear, in case
she don't like you guys.
Just to be very
There's any
clear.
doubt.
But I think that they can't get it right.
But this
they
is why
can't
I'm
get it
asking.
right, because if they're not on board, it's because they're not on board. If they are on board, it's because they're mentioning these 4 symptoms. At least they are mentioning the 4 symptoms, and those 4 symptoms are the ones which affect them the most. So that's where at least we've started. If they have to start from somewhere, and they can't say, if your wife is, if her bones are brittle, because how does that affect him?
But no. That's why I'm asking, because it's a genuine question. But and I'm trying to navigate how I feel about this myself. But it's kind of like, okay, guys, if you want to come on board and have a conversation about menopause and appeal to other men, why does it have to be about lowered sex drive? Why does it have to be about your woman putting on weight?
Because men only think about dick.
What?
Men think about their dicks.
It was quite clear.
Men think about dicks. But let me tell you, this goes back to nature, though. Men, it's all about dick, because nature's purpose of creating a man is to procreate. So he always thinks about getting a hard-on, having sex, or whatever, because that's what women, on the other hand,
I really don't agree with you.
Yes, it comes down to that.
Oh shit! I wish that's what my husband thinks about.
Nature's role. Nature's role. Nature's basic instinct role for a man is his dick, because that's how the human race continues. The man has to get a hard-on, has to have sex. They always want to have sex, So
you're saying that's the only thing that men think about all the time.
No, and you can't assume that all men are like
She's
that.
saying that's what catches
not
people's
what
interest in this topic, that probably for a lot of men, as soon as they hear menopause,
What do you blame them if they had to start talking about some shit that they're into? I'll be like, okay, bye.
Yeah, no, I'm not. In fact, I would say that in this situation, I would prefer that they are having the conversations.
Yes.
Even if it's not maybe exactly what we would want to focus on. But of course, if they're mansplaining, then it's a different kind of
this
situation.
is my point.
What is mansplaining?
This is, so I...
Take it home, Trudy Kerr. Take it home, baby.
Mansplaining is when a man talks about a topic that doesn't affect them, or that they don't fully understand in man's terms. And that's why I'm saying, because there's no man on this planet that's ever going to have menopause or perimenopause. And so mansplaining away and saying, well, you're feeling this and you're feeling that.
But that doesn't mean that because you don't experience something, you're not entitled to an opinion about it.
No, it's trying to understand. No, they're trying to understand.
If you have an attitude of, I know better than you,
okay,
okay. Right? I'd say that's kind of more the issue with it. It's different if it's all about approach, though, isn't it? Because
but here's my problem, and here's my issue, and this actually applies to an awful lot more than just menopause and perimenopause. And I'm really glad that men are
talking about
it, except that there's 2 concerns. One, I feel like it's being used as clickbait to get women on board and women following the men, because they're like, oh, look at that, men are talking about menopause. And the fact that they're talking about things like, so let me go back one. All the adverts that you'll see for menopause, right? I would say not all. 99% of adverts you're going to see for menopause always have women. It always starts by, have you put on weight? Do you have do you have the additional weight? Are you feeling fatigued? Are you feeling a bit grumpy?
That's also the adverts for cortisol and all that. That's all. Their advert. It's all there is at the moment. Is about losing weight.
Right.
Are you a bit thin?
Exactly. And it's like this, with all due respect, F right off. For me, it's lack of sleep. It's brain fog. It's muscle and joint pain.
But this
it's
issue,
but it's simplifying and making the issue that is very, very big. And menstruation, for instance, periods.
I'm more offended by, for example, the adverts for period products, for example, because most of them must be designed by men. Because, for example, the phrase is, have a happy period.
The fuck?
Are you serious? Have a fucking
Fuck
happy
you.
period. Are you serious?
No, I'm being
Definitely,
exactly
definitely a woman did not say, have a happy period.
Yeah,
and the advert is to show the woman cycling.
Oh, they're
or
always doing
swimming.
cycling in tiny white shorts. Always. The last thing you would ever wear when you're on your period.
Really?
You want to, fine.
I love it. It's true about
But isn't
that.
it true? They're always like, and I can put on my tiny white high shorts right up my vagina arse, and that's exactly what
So
I'm
that
going
you
to
can't
choose
see
to wear.
my pad
But
because I'm
there's
having
no
a happy period.
Exactly. There's no sign that I might be bleeding because I'm not actually a human being. I'm a sexual object for you to enjoy as I'm cycling.
And anybody who knows,
Or I'm playing tennis.
anyone who's had a period,
Always playing tennis.
Always
as
playing
well.
tennis.
Cycling.
Oh
and
my
playing
God!
tennis.
It was like
Very
for example,
ladylike.
they came out with all of these products for having a fresh vagina, so that you don't have a. I mean, what about? Have you ever smelled men's balls? Now, finally, there's a product.
admit
Now,
anything,
recently,
ladies. That was a trick question.
No, but recently,
That was a trick
about a week ago, there was a product. I finally saw a product to deodorize the balls. Well, finally, thank God.
can we just have an appeal right here
But
to all of our male viewers, and we do have some. Please do go and find this deodorant for men's balls.
Or just one la wash, sure.
But do you ever
Yes,
notice?
but I mean, it was always like men were always saying, because she smells like fishy down there. I mean, for God's sake, you smell like smelly socks, sweaty socks. You never heard women going around saying he
bad
smells like
cheese.
socks. I mean,
But
really?
do you ever notice that? Because I feel like certainly when I was like living in London and things, I started to notice that they were advertising these products for men's.
bollocks?
What's a nice way to say ball sack? I don't know.
Testicles. Testicles is the
Male all full body deodorant, whatever. But do you ever notice that the adverts are always like, stinky balls, use our deodorant. And like for women's, they're like, have you got an idea that your scent might not be quite as appealing as you were hoping for? Perhaps you should use this product that you could use in a very nondescript way.
What are they going to say? Fishwife's vagina.
Well, why is the marketing is so different? Like
Yes.
it's so different. They kind of like put it in this like subtle, like, we almost can't talk about the vagina.
Because we're always getting offended. Because women are so touchy. We get offended at everything. Men don't care. Men want to know.
they're like, stinky
Men,
balls,
you have
use
to be more
this.
direct. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
tell a man, are you a little bit sweaty and smelly down there? They're like, down where?
Like, no, I don't
Where?
think so.
Where?
Take a shower.
But if you tell a woman, are you a little bit smelly down there? We all know that you're so men, you have to be more direct. You have to give it, shovel it to
You
them.
do. You have to be-
smelly balls.
Yeah, yeah.
Buy this. Women, are you a little bit down there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're a
okay,
bit
fair
more-
I don't
play.
mind that.
The
Mom.
communication is
I
a
don't.
little
I don't
less
want an ad.
direct.
I don't want an ad that's super direct either. It's a bit like, okay, thank you. I got the picture. I read
Yeah,
between
we
the
get the
lines. I'm not
point,
that.
yeah.
Okay, I got a question though, because I'm listening to this. So we're saying that men is basically an advert should say, "Do you have a sweaty ball sack?"
Well,
Okay.
that's what they often say. They don't
what she
normally
said. That's
say
her words, not
any
mine.
problems
Right.
with body odor. It's very direct.
Okay, so if there was a female product, like we've just said, that the adverts with for tampons and sanitary towels and all this sort of thing are always, when I had periods, sweatpants, right? Sweatpants. You're in sweatpants for 4 days, unless it's like in the summer. You're wearing the most comfortable clothes you can
like
come
a track
across,
suit.
right? You know
Oh,
what I'm
okay.
saying?
Yeah.
So
Tracksuit pants.
would that not be a more realistic advert to have
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not
With a hot
particularly-
water bottle on your tummy, that kind
and
of thing.
Sue's one of those.
Well,
sitting
I
on a
mean,
lot.
look, I just don't know anybody who has a happy period, even if you have their sanitary products, even if you've bought the best tampons or the vaginal cup,
Yeah, it's
which
just
I
an
think is awful. I
inconvenience.
mean, bloody hell, this vaginal cup.
Uh-oh.
I'm not into that.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God, give me a break.
You're a moon cup person.
And they're not
Give
moon,
a
they're the...
break. They're so messy.
Listen,
Oh,
I
for
like the
God's
idea of it, but fuck no. Like, I don't know. I can't.
As if you're in the toilet, you're going to take it out, put it in the
Right, so
sink.
what
and
happens
drink.
is-
Ismail, that wasn't the point. You're deviating.
Yes, we are.
Although I
deviating.
appreciate your efforts for conserving
Give
the
me a
environment.
Tampax. Give me a Tampax, please. Let's
But I
chuck it
can't.
up.
But
there
you
and
haven't
throw it
seen a
away.
Tampax in a while, so, right?
Where?
What does that mean?
If you take
Are you trying to
HRT...
insinuate that I'm old? Let me tell you.
No,
I
it's
have-
because you guys are talking all about premenopause or
No,
perimenopause.
I haven't seen one in about 5 years because I had a hysterectomy. But previous to that, all my handbags, all my purses, any bag that I possessed, any drawer in my house was always full of pads, tampons.
But that's what I mean. Genuinely, I didn't want it to sound as it came out.
So every drawer, every bag was full of tampons and sanitary pads and whatever. In fact, even I had to use incontinency pads at one point, you know. I mean, they were
Hold on a
just
second. We've
ruled
gone
my
full
life.
circle because what's that trending?
Maximalist.
Whereas I'm the
Well
minimalist
stocked
because I
up.
would have one Tampax here, and they would sit there right. You had them everywhere.
Of course, but I was so heavy. It was, I mean, it totally
But honestly-
dictated my whole life. I mean, I used to, not that we're talking about this, but I mean, I would be probably 15 days of every month.
Well, we are talking about this because I tell you
that's
why.
insane.
I tell you why.
15 days.
That's
And then I'd have
crazy.
maybe 5-7 days, okay? And then I start again.
Do you not find? I feel that like we're so like talking about this, like this communication around women's bodies and things like that. I feel like it's such a shame that we don't like speak more openly about things. Obviously, things have become so much more open in the modern day, but like I just feel like we don't use language that's clear enough when we're talking about women's health and women's reproductive rights. And
How much clearer do you want to be?
well, I just mean like, for example, you know, there doesn't always need to be like, oh, Aunt Flo is in town, or I'm on my time, or I'm on my month. It's like, I'm on my period and I'm really uncomfortable right now.
Okay, so let me ask you a
I
question.
don't want to go swimming today, actually, because I'm on my period and I don't feel like putting
But
a
how
tampon
we're
in because I
getting
got
there.
Wait.
Yeah,
Wait, because this, I'm wondering if this is a cultural thing. Because when I was growing up, and you guys can probably, well, you can all probably tell me, I grew up in the UK, and we used all of it. Maybe it's an age thing, or maybe it's a culture thing. Because we used all these
Euphemisms,
euphemisms,
yeah.
Aunt Flo,
Yeah.
or if you got your whatever it was, monthly or this sort of thing. Nobody would come out and say, "I've got my period."
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just didn't say
But
it.
hold on a second. Now, what is okay now was not okay then. For example, going back to, let's say, when I was 14 and my parents split up. I was, I think, the second person in the class who had separated parents. And at that point, you know, the teachers would say, and the head would say, listen, be very, you know, because her parents have split up. And
It was kind of hush-hush.
So it was. Nowadays, be careful because her parents are still together. We've come full circle. It's okay to come from a broken family. What was okay? What was not
That's
okay?
that's a horrible word.
But
anyway,
what
go
I'm
on.
saying is, at that time, going back to when
As
I
in
was 14,
the broken, I don't like, not the
no,
whole. Let
but-
me make
but-
it clear for anyone listening.
But at that time, it was very unusual, let's say, to come from a family where your parents were split up. Now, it's quite mainstream. It was even more unheard of that you were living, say, with a mother and a stepfather, whereas now it's pretty mainstream, you know. It happens. So before, we used to be a bit more polite about things. So you wouldn't go out if 40 years ago you went out and you said, well, I'm on my period, you know. I mean, people would have,
Yes, but
you were
it's the
certifiable.
It's the shaming it. You're
Why
shaming
would
it.
that even have to be?
Because it wasn't. Now we are more open. Now we have developed to that stage where we talk more openly about things. But then you didn't. Going back 40 years ago,
hang on.
your husband didn't even come into the delivery suite with you to have a baby.
Sue, I'm going to ask because what you're talking about, if we don't talk about it, if you're saying like we use these secret words and
Flow,
we're shaming the experience. Do young people, do young women?
Now,
do you?
no.
Do
I
you?
think it
feel-
depends a
can
lot
you-
on how you've been brought up, because there are conversations with certain people. Even, for example, when I breastfed, there were people who were like, you know, it's fine, breastfeed. You don't even have to cover up. I breastfed in summer, so it was hot. And then I had other people who were like, "Mother, cover up." You know, so I'm like, whatever it is.
How do you feel about
it's
it?
moving. It's moving.
Yes,
We're
it is
learning.
moving. Possibly
Our children,
50
like my
years ago,
son.
it would have been a definite
Of
no.
course, my
to
son of
breastfeed.
21 is also much more open with his girlfriend than my daughter of 31 was ever with her boyfriends, let's say. You can see how it's developing. The conversations are more open. The boys are more in tune as well because there were mixed schools going back 40 years ago. There weren't any mixed schools.
I'm not sure I know any mother who is completely comfortable breastfeeding in public, and should she be?
I don't particularly think that a woman should whack her boob out and feed her baby. Personally. I mean, I don't have anything against it.
I
But
think
I
you
don't.
do you kind of
Yeah,
thing.
you
If
do you.
my kid, so my experience was in summer, I was possibly at some point frustrated myself. He was feeling hot. I remember him doing this. If it comes to a point, I don't mind covering up, but if it comes to a point where it is then at the detriment of him feeding or not, I really don't give a shit. I'm going to take off the scarf.
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, I need to feed my kid and I need to get on with my day. But that is me.
I suppose it's just kind of like a general
I'm not-
sense of
I'm
like.
not going to be like talking to you and be like, I won't do
Yeah.
that. I mean, there is a bit of, I suppose, what's the word for it? You can do it slightly more discreetly, but
Yes, I think
I don't
think
get
it
the
is
stigma around
Sensitivity.
it.
You're going to be sensitive to your
Just
situation.
not because I'm uncomfortable, because there's a potential that I'm going to make you uncomfortable, and I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
But it also comes from your own self-worth, let's say, for example. I mean, recently on social media, they were showing this couple who were having sex. I mean, she was hidden and you could see him, you know, from the... So what, are we going to just... Everything is going to be okay? So breastfeed, have sex. Well, you know, I think we have to keep certain things, or not, we don't have to, but I like that certain things are a little bit private. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem if somebody at the table started to breastfeed, but I would prefer that
there was a
she
scarf
covered
covering
up
them.
and whatever.
Just
It's
fine.
just a certain amount. It's just a certain behavior, what is acceptable and what is decent and
But this is, as you're saying,
you know?
what it was acceptable then and is acceptable now is
So
a
then you wouldn't
never-changing
even
thing.
do it. Then no,
This is
then-
what I mean.
then
So
no, then
the
you wouldn't
line, the line that's of like decorum, so to speak, is a very,
No,
a very swayable
the
line.
landscape has changed, so you have to kind of adapt. We adapt, don't we? The landscape.
And I think that you hit the nail on the head. The landscape has definitely
Yeah, I
changed
think
because
so.
50 years ago, when I was a baby, my mum and the people around her were not working. They were not having to fit in, you know, the whole working landscape. They were having to fit in taking the kids to there, and a completely mental
It's different,
overload.
very different. But again, I mean, you know, 40 years ago, it was unheard of that your husband came into the delivery suite. Now it's unheard of that he doesn't come with you.
Yeah.
So now, based upon how we behave now, you cannot judge 40 years ago.
Is that you mentioned that there was this, there'd been something going on with the BBC about cancel culture. And we talked about this because this relates to what was acceptable then and what's acceptable now. And I'm going to read this and I'm going to ask your opinions about it. BBC asked John Torode to resign over a racist remark and then blamed mental health issues after sacking Greg Wallace. Torode was, and these guys, they're from a chef.
They do MasterChef. So MasterChef has been going on for years. And it's a cooking show, for those who don't know. In fact, one of our top chefs locally hit stardom because he took part and he did very well in it.
Okay.
Sean Gravina, yes, he did very well in it. And it's been going on for years. And it's sort of like a cult following, it's a fantastic program to watch. It's presented by this Greg Wallace. He was a vegetable vendor, as far as I know. So that's how he started into vegetables, and he grew a whole thing. So he was from the produce side. And the other guy, John, was a chef, an Australian chef.
Oh, it's the Australian. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. So Greg, the vegetable guy who was originally vegetable, there were some
He's
complaints.
He's a proper Cockney like this, isn't he? Yeah.
And there were complaints. Complaints came out that going back years ago and whatever, that he had certain behavior that was a little bit sexist, and maybe he touched women inappropriately and whatever. And so he was suspended from the program. They stopped actually showing the episodes that he was in, and the whole investigation was launched. Through that investigation, this other guy, Torode, it was found that somebody said that he had passed a joke or a comment that was racist. And so
here's
now,
can I read this? I'm going to read this because the dossier upholds a complaint that an unnamed person used a racial phrase once several years ago. Torode confirmed to this newspaper, as it referred to him, but he said, "I have absolutely no recollection of this, and I don't believe that it happened." The BBC also told MasterChef presenter to pretend that he had mental health issues after accusing him of racism, it was claimed. The stunned Aussie, who's 59 years old, was asked to resign after being dragged into the Greg Wallace scandal. And you and I are a bit horrified by this.
I can't believe it. Now, again, super unfair, because men literally can't get it right at the moment. And that they are these two men that have done a very good job. They've both been given MBEs and whatever. They are being. Greg actually was hounded, and his whole career stopped and whatever, on behavior and on something that was done years ago. And now this Torode guy is also now suspended and going to have to quit his job on a joke that he doesn't even remember having said years ago. We don't know how many years ago. Now it could be 10 years ago, it could be 15, it could be 5.
Someone has come forward in the meantime.
Somebody in the whole investigation, something. But the point is here. The point is that a lot of men, and now I'm not talking about, because then we mentioned somebody else who was
Tate.
No, we mentioned the other guy who was a sex offender.
Jimmy Savile.
Jimmy Savile.
Who was the co-host?
No, Jimmy Savile is a presenter, a children's TV presenter.
Whether for a moment of disconnection, a complete body-mind reset, or a bonding time together, book online stress-free at Myoka.com. Complimentary spa facilities on every visit.
Periods are part of the game, but they don't have to throw you off your game. Try new Always Platinum for up to 100% leak protection, faster absorption, dry feel, and it's more cushiony, so you can focus on your game. It's a new period, always.
When I was younger, if I was walking in the street and a guy wolf whistled, there was nothing wrong with it. We walked, we carried on walking, and it wasn't a big deal. Today, if a guy wolf whistles, it's like, oh my God. You see these posts on Women for Women or on, so, I was walking in the street and he whistled at me and he called me sexy and whatever, and this is shameful and this is this and that. And I think that we've become very precious today, but I also think it's very unfair that you have these two men who have had excellent careers, who have done this excellent program and whatever, and they are having their lives literally destroyed on something they did years ago, which was, I'm not saying it was right, but it was acceptable then. It's not acceptable now.
So you're essentially saying that they're on trial for something that happened in the past, for standards that we have now.
So these
but
are our
didn't
standards.
then, because back then it wasn't something that would have raised eyebrows. You would have gone, "Oh, he put his hand on her shoulder,
like
or the
Catherine
small of her
Tate.
back."
Exactly. Like
And we
Catherine
had
Tate.
this conversation,
Like Little Britain.
like Little Britain. Little Britain, which when I was growing up, if you haven't seen it, it's a comedy show. Back then was extremely funny. To the you're smiling. You know what I'm talking about.
That's
To the
hilarious,
standards back then.
If you had to put it
funny
out
at the
now.
But if it was put out
It
now,
didn't age well because of cancel
Yeah.
culture nowadays.
Listen, it's very strange. I feel a little bit that, I mean, Tez and I, we're kind of the same age.
Yeah.
I'm 35. So I feel very much, I'm kind of like in this sort of like splinter era. Because it's like we're not quite like old enough that we're like, oh, back in my day. Like you can kind of like...
yeah. Yeah.
Not that that's what
No,
you're saying.
So I insulted
I'm
her
joking.
earlier about
I'm
how
joking.
long ago she's seen her
I'm
periods.
joking.
And now
I'm
they're-
joking. Carry on. I'm joking. Joke.
No, but what I'm saying is that I'm not so far removed from like,
Yeah.
you know, and also I am also a content creator. So, you know, I kind of like see these things also from a slightly different perspective too sometimes.
But you're raising a really interesting question there, you content creator.
well-
because do you have to be very sensitive? Do you have
Of
to be,
course
do
she
you
does.
sit there and think, I don't want to offend anyone?
I just generally, personally tend to avoid talking about those topics. Right or wrong, that's just what I kind of choose to do because I just don't want to get into it. And I
You
just
have to.
I
You
think
have
it
to,
depends on how far it's
because
gone,
nowadays,
honestly. And
I
how
think it
big
kind of
nowadays, if you
is
say
and-
something, I mean, you can be totally.
I think
Tez,
it depends on how
Tez,
far
Tez.
it's gone. I think there is a comment, if it's paused once, I'd be like, all right, whatever, you're trying to be funny, no one laughed, ciao. But if it's something that's recurring, then I'd be like, all right, hati off, or am I going to take action now against you? You know, that is where...
Okay, coming back to this case here, do you think these guys should be cancelled because
See,
they said something they said?
What are they being accused of?
well, with
is it is it something big like a sexual harassment?
No.
Impregnated someone, disowned.
No,
with Torode though,
But if it's
we
that,
don't know, do
if
we?
it's
So with
that,
Torode,
we don't know.
with Torode, that it came up in the investigation about Wallace. Okay, we don't know. It was some kind of a joke, which was sexist.
Who are these people?
no,
Wallace,
no.
whatever. I don't
But
know what
they are
you're
the one-
saying.
They are the
They're the two presenters of
MasterChef.
All right, okay.
MasterChef UK.
Okay,
Okay,
just to come back to this.
Because there might be
Two-
people who don't know either who
Exactly.
are watching.
So from here, two presenters of MasterChef. One is being at the moment investigated
83
for 83
I think,
accounts
or
of inappropriate behavior or inappropriate comments, sexist comments. The other guy,
like he might have said, "You're looking sexy today."
And what these 83 people have bound together.
83 accusations. So it might have been one woman had, say, 20 accusations.
Okay, so what over the years
So
these
it might
people
have
came
been.
together and said, he
So
told
now
me that. he told me-"
lately,
come out.
because now everybody's coming out and saying, well, 20 years ago I was molested or I was raped or whatever. So now there is this culture where these women are. So these were either previous contestants on the program, okay, or people who worked on the program. And for example, he would have maybe slapped somebody's bum, for example, or he might have said, "Your boobs are looking nice," or he might have said, "You're looking gorgeous."
Yeah, I mean, with all
or something like that.
But
Silly
honestly,
comments like
all
that.
of those comments that you have just like given examples of there, like if somebody did that to me, I don't think that's appropriate.
I don't think I would be offended.
First of all, don't touch. I mean, if you're touching somebody, like we're way far past appropriate. Like don't do that. But also, like, I just think that it's complicated. Okay, you have to kind of take it on a case by case basis. You can't. I'm not behind this whole like cancel culture. Like we're on a witch hunt. Okay, the
but
witch
10,
hunt.
20 years ago, as women, if, for example, now going back over 20 years ago, okay, if I was sitting at the desk and my male boss came and put his arm around me and told me, "Oh, I'll be," I would have thought nothing of it. I would have, that to me was a term of endearment.
Okay.
It wouldn't have been a problem.
Okay.
If today 20 years old, 30 years old, was sitting in an office and my male boss came up and put his arm around me and told me, "Oh, I'll be," I'd have a case against him. I mean, seriously?
Oh, God. I don't know about all that, but do you think that that's professional?
Nowadays, no.
But did you think would you have thought it was professional then?
But yeah, it was fine because you know what? We were more like a family then. When we were working, if you worked somewhere and you were happy and whatever, we had it was like a family.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's not. Now you go in, you work and you go home and whatever, and it's more like this whole
But,
thing.
but this is really interesting because there's two.
You can't get somebody today and judge him today on how we behave today on something he did in the past.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
But this is the whole. I personally think this is where I think feminism has gone too far.
Yes.
Because as you said, I personally think that we as society have changed so radically from 70 years ago where women didn't go out to work. Post-war, women had gone back into the home, and then along come contraceptive pill, which meant women could have kids later and all sorts of things, and all these incredible changes. And we've gone from there to here in such a short space of time that culturally we're having to catch up as well. And as Sue rightly said, men are actually getting a bit of a hard deal here because we are all progressive and we're saying, okay, now we're bringing up the family, looking after the home, and we're full-time work, and we're bringing in half the money, and we're doing this as well. And we've changed everything culturally so dramatically that we're empowered and we're fighting for our rights as women and so on, that we have equality, but culturally we still haven't caught up. That's what I think. I think culturally in the whole, and that's going to take generations. It's going to take generations.
It takes a long time. And it takes, because first, myself growing up, my children, even how I brought up my daughter who's 30 and my son who's 20, it changed in that 10-year difference. And then if they have children, then they'll be my grandchildren, how I behave with them and whatever.
But I just feel that we always have to take things too far.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's
We
always
being who?
Women,
society.
people.
Because society includes men. So are we saying women, or are we saying men, or are we saying both?
I'm saying both. I'm saying everybody. Like just society
Women in
as a
particular.
whole.
Don't you think women in particular, though?
I don't know, because I
bit more touchy.
do feel that like there is a certain kind of, you get that vibe that when you're alone with your boss or you're alone with that manager or that person you're working with, and you just kind of know that their intention is that they're just being a bit of a perv.
No!
Okay, but wait a second.
No, what?
Because
not always. Not because I'm stuck in a room with a guy. I know something.
I'm saying when you are in that situation, then you know.
Sometimes there is, and even 20 years ago,
Okay, I've understood.
If he didn't have that kind of energy, you'd feel it,
what I
and you
mean.
wouldn't like it.
But there was nothing you could do about it.
Exactly. But today you would be like,
have
he's
that
done
energy,
that. Or...
even if he doesn't have it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So it's too far. Right? Like the energy it's too far. It's like kind of why did it have to be that like 20 years ago we said nothing about anybody making us uncomfortable or being a perv or whatever, and now it's like as soon as somebody goes, oh, you look lovely today, we're like, oh, you're a fucking perv and you need to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, why does it have to go so far in one? Extreme. Why can't it just be kind of like that we assess things as as level-headed people? And in fact, I would say that I think that this is where training and professionalism with like HR and things are involved. If you're uncomfortable about something, you can speak to a professional who can then kind of assess the situation and sort of be like, okay, well, I think, in this situation, it's fine. And maybe you are being
a little bit too sensitive,
overly sensitive, and like keen
but they
to
would
like
never
jump
say
on
that.
Something.
They will never.
I don't know
say
about that
that
because I've not had the training. But do you see what I mean? It's kind of like a little bit of a fine line.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for example, when I grew up in Malta, I did a lot of theatre stuff, and there were.
That's how I know Emily.
Right, that's how we know each other exactly. And in that scene, there was a lot of like pervy shenanigans. Let's put it that way. A lot of things going on. And I remember even when I was like really young, I mean, it's very icky, like when you're like 13, 14, there would be people that you would kind of like work with, and all of us girls would kind of be like, watch that one. You don't want to be like,
and alone in a room with that guy.
Yeah. Or at a late night rehearsal.
Funny thing is, I
that
know exactly who she's talking about.
So So in those types of situations, obviously that should have been dealt with, but we didn't deal with it, right? We maybe like I was very close with my mum. I would like comment it to my mum and be like, oh, I think he's a bit funny, whatever, right? Like, and then your mum would be like, yeah, maybe just, try not to be alone with that person or whatever, right? But these days it would be like if somebody maybe just said to you, oh,
you're looking nice.
You look nice today, or that dress really suits you in a particular kind of tone.
That's not.
That's fine. That would be fine for me. But like maybe somebody who's like 15 years younger than me would be like, hold on a minute, is this person being inappropriate? Like it requires a little bit of like nuance, surely.
But I think that the young ones don't have the social savvy to know, first of all, a lot of them communicate with people online. Now, they're not getting that social development and maturity through going out, meeting people. I mean, we were going out all the time and you'd learn the behaviors. Now everything is over the computer.
Is that where we, but is that where we get, because we're talking at the table, we all recollect the ickdar. You know, when you get like a radar, you get the ick.
But what is an ick for you might not be an ick for me.
I think there are
standard.
I think we all know when. I remember when I was at school, one of our friends was getting it on with one of our teachers, and we all just sat there and was like, "No, this is not cool." You know when something, even if you don't know how to explain it, even as a child, you know that when the ick is, when the perv is.
Yeah, but when you're saying ick, so you're talking about two different things.
Yes, I think so.
There's a lot of conversation at the moment about the ick being like an unexplained phenomenon that when somebody who you're interested in romantically does something that's very normal.
When you're at dating stage, possibly.
Yeah, maybe, or your partner, whatever, that they do something and you're like, it doesn't matter, it's not logical, but it's like, it just turns you off. Okay,
and
you
your
get
make
the
or
ick.
break.
That's what we're kind of talking about here. This is like a different thing.
What?
There's an ick. There's actually
the fact that me and Sue were like looking at each other going,
there's a page on icks on Instagram.
Like it's kind of like a little bit of a sensitive thing as well, because people can be so like harsh.
So wait a second. Hold on a second, because the ick that we're talking about,
which I agree with this.
Oh, that predatory.
I agree with
That's
that.
not what we're talking
So
about.
what you're talking about is you have a boyfriend that you're in love with, and
or
whatever,
someone, or you're going out with
or
someone,
somebody
whatever,
you're
and you
dating,
see
or
him,
whatever.
you see him, for example, tripping over whilst he's trying to put his shoes on, and you see that, and you're like, oh, I can't shag you anymore because I just don't find it. I'm turned off. It's a turn off.
It's a turn
like
off.
It's kind of like an unreasonable
Yes,
thing
like he looks great and then he takes off his socks and he has long toenails.
Yeah,
bravo.
You see him trip over something.
Yeah.
It's kind of nasty.
But it doesn't always need to be something disgusting. It can be something he says.
It could be something stupid. Yes, it could be something that puts you off. Yes, but that's human nature.
So that's different. So when we're talking about the ick is like, I feel that's become like a noun now. It's like it's given me the ick. It's kind of like an unexplained. You don't really know what it is, but something they've done has turned you off.
That has to do with Love Island as well. Love Island culture use icks a lot.
Do they?
In their
Okay,
life.
I really love being educated on this show, because when I'm saying ick, what I mean is, and I love the collection of glasses of cans you have in front of you. When I'm just pointing that one out. When I'm thinking of ick, what I'm thinking of is probably more of the perv dog.
Yeah, that's different.
The perv radar.
Yeah,
I think that's an ick with a capital I.
Yeah.
And then I'm inventing this, and then they have the minor icks, which is a small, lowercase ick.
Do you not also feel, because I also believe, and I think this is like across a lot of things, that when people see things online, right, that they kind of like latch onto them.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
So for example, let's imagine you're like
a little bit like the LaBuBu Trend. Okay, go on.
not like that at all, but
cool and proud.
Go on.
Give that one here.
No, what I mean is, like, for example, it's like, okay, you watch like, there's a lot of content made about these types of things at the moment, right? Like cancel culture, like, oh, well, actually, yes, I was involved with that person and they were inappropriate with me, right? And then it's kind of like builds up this sort of thing that people are like scrolling and they kind of see something like, and they relate to it and they think, oh yeah, actually that happened with my teacher or my whatever, and they kind of like relate it back to a situation that's happened to them.
But they sometimes take it out of context as well.
That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
but
I'm
here-
saying that I
Hang on,
feel
hang on,
that
hang on, hang
people
on.
are so desperate
for
it to be
attention and
related.
to be
Yes.
venerated
Yeah.
for being a victim, that sometimes if somebody sees that somebody gets attention and venerated and glorified I'm not being disrespectful for anyone
No,
who really goes through
of
trauma.
course
But
not.
sometimes if someone sees somebody and sees that they are being protected or being
being protected, yes.
exactly because of the situation they're going through, they think, okay, I want that.
Yes, or maybe
I
they
want
don't.
that.
Maybe they don't know. Maybe they genuinely feel that it has been inappropriate, but maybe that's because they don't know yet, because they're really young or whatever. They haven't had like life experience to know whether that's actually a serious situation or not. And that's where we have to have a little bit of like discrepancy. You know, that like situations have to be. You have to take people seriously, but then at the same time, you have to be able to say whether something.
It's a hard line to draw, Emma.
But that's the thing; it's not
It is
hard.
very hard,
It's,
but you know what?
It's a
I
nuanced
think-
situation. Every situation has to be taken individually. You can't just like sweepingly generalize that this is one way and this is the other. Like there's nuance
I think though
involved.
that we're all born with that kind of gut feeling about when something is right and something is wrong.
That's true.
And that gut feeling is something that you have to listen to. And then I think that as well as we grow up, as we're young and we grow up and we are socializing with our peers, we are learning and maturing emotionally, and what is right and what is wrong and what is acceptable and what isn't, and maybe what is right for you is not right for me and whatever. And we all find our own
Culture
levels.
comes into it.
And we all,
as well.
exactly, culture, upbringing, family, and whatever.
Because
that's okay.
That determines right and wrong.
Culture, family. Your family do have a big say and how you've been brought up. Like, say, for example, if you've been brought up in a family that have never worked and have always been on the dole, for example, to you that's okay to take off the dole. In my family, you never took anything from the dole. You didn't get unemployment benefits, and you worked. You went out and you worked. So I mean. Your
But
family.
when you're describing the instance of this brings us right the way back to this case of the BBC, where way back when in the, let's say, 80s, comedy shows would be referencing, I don't know, black people or gay people or other minorities, as well as majorities, and making jokes at their expenses. And now we're saying that that's wrong. And
But you can't go back and judge. So what, are we going to get David Williams and his other guy, and we're going to take them to court now? And
They're
you watch
in
Friends,
quite a bit
that.
of trouble
You see-
themselves at the moment, from what I understand.
yes, the bald guy, I can't remember his name. He was in trouble. But again, like, for example, another thing which really, really annoys me is if we go back 30 years ago, if you were an actress 30 years ago, and you wanted to get a role in a film and whatever, and you went and spent time with the producer 30 years ago, if you wanted a role in a film as an actress 30 years ago, 40 years ago, if you wanted a role you went and spent time with the producer, whatever, you knew what was going to go on in order for you to get that role. You knew going into that situation that you were going to sleep with him. You knew it 30 years ago. Wait, Tez, 30 years ago, that's how it was, because 30 years ago, that's how women moved ahead. Is it right? No. But 30, 40 years ago, if you were a woman and there were 5 of you who were beautiful, for example, and going for the same role, the one who slept with the producer is the one who got the role.
And that became socially accepted.
No. And then it was secret and whatever, but you knew that if you... So now, we fast forward 30 years ago, that actress who went and slept with that producer, she can't say now and take him to court because 30 years ago I came in and I slept with you for the job. You knew. Now, today in 2025, for something that was done in 1995. You can't. It's not fair.
What do you mean?
It
That
depends
was
what the
socially
thing
accepted?
is. It
Not if it's rape or something like that.
Depends what the thing
Forget.
is.
No.
You see, that I think is the crux of it. Because, and I think we go back to what was acceptable, what then and is not acceptable now is one thing. What is not acceptable then and not acceptable now is something completely different. And to be assault or rape or or anything like that is not acceptable in any time.
No.
But you're talking about coercion, and coercion has such a fine line.
It's not necessarily coercion, but if when I was 20, I was an actress and I wanted a role.
But that is such a sweeping statement, as if everybody who was an actress back then did this to get ahead.
Let me tell you, the majority of actresses going back.
Majority? No, I don't agree with you.
I'm sorry, you're wrong. If you go back, when you go back to those times, if, for example, I'm just talking about this particular kind of job, if you wanted to get a role and you on your own went to the producer because he told you, come and have coffee, you didn't really think that you were going to go and drink coffee and then you were going to leave. You knew what he was asking you to the house for. You knew what you were going to do, and you willingly went there because that was how you got the job. Today, in 2025...
What about your talent? What about your work ethic? That didn't speak anything.
Of course it spoke. But then...
There would have been 10,000 other people who have the same work ethic and talent. So
and we're saying that all the actresses in the golden era got their roles, not because they were talented.
The majority of the...
Hold on, but that's
they were talented. That's not what I'm saying. Tess, calm down and listen to what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying
is...
I'm not on calm time. I am at the same level.
What I'm saying is that 30 years ago, I'm not saying it was right that the producer slept with you and gave you the role because he slept with you. I'm not saying it was right. But you as the female went to his house and you knew what he was going to expect from you, and you knew that was going to land you the role. Now, you cannot.
They all knew that.
They did. You are maybe too young, but believe me, they did. Because believe me, even I at 20 knew if I had to get something, how to get it. Now, I cannot then let 30 years pass, wake up when I'm 50 and say, Zop Allah, when I was 20 and I wanted that job. I went and he slept with me and he took advantage of me. Well, I'm going to take him to court now.
I agree with you. I agree with you. What I'm not agreeing with is how you're thinking. History went down when we don't have proof from every single... Maybe a few of them came out and
I'm not saying every single. I'm saying if you were one of these that went there, you knew what you were going for. Mela, now, today in 25, don't take him to court.
Hang on a second.
Don't take him to court and hang him. And
what I think is not what I wasn't actually understanding. You're not saying that everybody did that. You're saying if you did that. So not everybody, not every actress went for a job, slept with the producer to get the job. She's saying if you were invited by the producer to go for a coffee, you knew that it was going to be more than a coffee. That's just a sleazy producer, and that's not every actress. But if you find yourself in that scenario, you pretty
knew what you were going to.
I have to say,
you can't then fast forward 30 years ago and then take him to court because you slept with him.
No, you can't. But I would say, I mean,
but that's what we're doing now.
Isn't this? Well, that comes down to the question of how far do we take feminism? Because that sleazy attitude of a producer, let's say a producer way back in the 70s, is why we needed to have equal rights.
Revolution, kind of.
Of course. And I totally agree with it. And I think that people should be given their job or their role or whatever on their merits and what they are capable of doing. It shouldn't be who you know, or if you've opened your legs, or if you haven't, or whatever it is. I mean, it's irrespective. I think we should all have a fair chance at doing it.
Ideal Standard, celebrating 90 years of success in the local market, exclusively from Satariano.
we are just for a second going to completely and utterly change the topic, okay? Because Emily said something which, before we sat down for the show, which had all of us going, oh my word.
Oh, God, what?
And I think every single woman can relate to this. Now, Emily, you've been through a journey where you have had a dramatic weight loss. And you were saying, I feel good because I can go into Zara and I can go and buy this. But
Yeah, it's
you said that
crazy.
no same shop has the same sizes.
No, they don't.
This is the pain of every single woman. And this is going to be where we're going to kind of dive into for our last investigation on After Hours. Explain to me what that is. Because I'm going to tell you from my point of view, there are shops that I just avoid.
Yeah.
And I don't
Why
understand.
do you avoid them?
Why?
Because
she
I
knows the
know
sizes are
that my
small.
size isn't going to, it's not, I know that my body shape is not reflected in the sizes. I've got a big ass. I've got a tiny waist and a tiny back. And around here.
Hello, goals. Hashtag goals. I mean,
But
are we making clothes for women or are we making clothes
For
for
mannequins.
freaking, scarecrows or whatever? Like, obviously, women have those types of characteristics. That is female. That is the female body. Like, why are shops making clothes that don't fit any of us? Like, it's so frustrating. And what we were talking about with this issue is that you go into one shop and you can buy something in a size 10 or whatever, and you go into the next shop. Or even the same shop.
Yeah, it is the
sometimes.
same, even in the same
Even
shop.
the same shop.
You look
You
at
can
a
try-
medium trousers, medium
Yeah.
jeans, you find them in one style, you find them in blue, you find them in black, and they fit completely differently. And I can't understand it. It's the same shop. I don't get it.
But I think because I was watching, because I'm a big fan of Judge Judy, and I was watching once a program on Judge Judy, one of her episodes, and there were this these two boys. They were getting this manufacturer to make clothes for them under their label, and one of the things that they were suing him for was because the tops were in 3 different sizes. When you measured them against each other, they were 3 different sizes, but the label said all said medium.
Yeah.
And the manufacturer was saying that this is something which happens a lot in the production of clothes, where the size gets labeled incorrectly.
Yes, hey.
But I also
And I
think
think
that some brands do it specifically to kind of like keep a particular kind of image. If I'm being
You think
like
so? What do you
I
mean?
I think there's some brands who don't want to see curvy women or women above a certain size wearing their clothes.
A certain type of
Yes,
woman.
so they're like, we want this type of person wearing our clothes, so we're going to keep the sizing really
Small.
tight and small.
I see.
And it's like you kind of know as a woman of a
Particular size.
but I mean, let's be honest here. Trudy is a straight size person. I mean, she's not a plus size woman. She's, got a beautiful slim figure. So it's like if she can't, but it's true. But I mean, like, it's not like you're going to have any major difficulties. You shouldn't have any major
I
difficulties
have
going into a
horrendous
shop.
trouble getting
And most
anything from the
people
waist
do,
down. But then I also have trouble getting things from the waist up
Because you're too
because
small.
I've got a big bust.
Do you?
But But these are I do. But this is
Small,
quite
your
small.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll find something like, I can't get a size 10 because I can't get my boobs. I can't get these. I'm going to call them the girls because I got
The
told off for calling them
girls.
boys.
She can't get
I
the
can't get the
girls
girls in them because they don't fit into a smaller size, which
It's
is
very
I mean, the
confusing.
manufacturer can't do a size 10 small boob, size 10 large boob, size 10.
That would be great. And there are some brands that do that,
Do
by
they?
the way. But they are very specific and very specialist and expensive.
And expensive,
It's not
because
like
then
you're
there's the
walking
cost.
in off the high street to find something. The high street, we call it that these days, the death of the high street. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can't walk into...
Yeah, because you can't go into one of those shops, that
Yeah.
high street shops, and expect them to.
Yes, although as
Maybe
Maybe
somebody...
not as
Right?
specific, but at least I would expect that a medium in pink, orange, green, whatever color. I
somewhat
expect that.
standard.
I find it very
across the
depressing, actually,
board.
because that particular shop that you mentioned before is a shop that I shop at a lot. And sometimes I'll go in and I'll buy the medium and it fits. And then sometimes I'll just go and take the medium off the rack, go home, and it doesn't fit. And I think,
You see what I mean? You see how frustrating that is?
Yeah, but hold
And
on a
it's not-
minute. But I feel a little bit like kind of... Okay, obviously, bearing in mind also that I am seeing this now from two very different sides. I'm seeing this like 18 months ago, I couldn't walk into any high street shop and find something to fit. And now I'm finding that I can walk in pretty much everywhere and find something with no problem. It's a very strange experience. It's nice. I feel very...
You have options now.
I have options, but I also feel very sad and feel that it's very unfair for my past self and for everybody else who is in a body that isn't, like a straight size that you can just walk in anywhere. It's very frustrating that in this day and age you can't do that. Like, hello. But whatever, by the by. The point is that I feel that people put far too much emphasis on their clothes size. I think people wear it like as a status.
This is really interesting. There are certain sizes I would not buy. If I couldn't get it in a particular size, I would rather not buy it than get the size up.
Right. That's
so you're saying if you saw a particular dress that you fitted into a large, you wouldn't buy it because you refuse to buy anything bigger than a medium.
Because you don't identify as that body type.
Exactly.
That's very interesting.
I identify as an extra small. That's how I identify.
And I identify
as a peach.
And I identify as like a 2XL. So it's very interesting. For me, I really don't care what the label says because I've experienced for most of my life being plus size that I can't find things to fit. So it's like, I don't care what the label says. As long as I fit into it and I feel it looks good, then I'll wear it.
There's a store that I go to and it's one of my favourite clothing stores. It's not a store that we have very much on the island, and it's not a cheap store, but I go in there and I know that if I get a particular size, they're going to come and say, oh, well, you could get a size smaller. That makes me feel amazing. Their sizing is what I would consider to be generous but consistent. Always consistent. I always know when I go in there.
For a while it was like this there, and then I don't know what happened.
What do you mean?
Well, can I ask a question?
It was like what?
The brand you were referring to earlier had a good couple of years that I could pick things off the rack, not try them on and leave. The same thing with a couple of other brands, but recently I don't know what happened, because this is something that's happening across brands, not just this one. Even the fact
maybe you just put on weight, Tez.
Okay, thanks, Sue. Jeez, today. But for example, even the fact that they design tops that assume you're not going to wear a bra with it. Tipo, what do you mean? Honestly,
that's coming from the catwalk. That's not coming from that shop, because that shop relates what's on the catwalk. That's coming from
even
the
fact that there are only crop tops, and I don't like crop tops.
This catwalk thing brings me back to a conversation I've had over and over again, and it's a question. I saw what's the model of the Kardashians?
Kendall.
You were here when we had this conversation.
Yeah, because you were talking about her outfit recently, that she was in something that she was spilling out of.
She was in an outfit.
Spilling out of.
Let me explain. She was in an outfit walking on the catwalk. It was ridiculous the way that this rigid corset was styled. And she got criticised because she had what they were calling back fat, and she couldn't walk comfortably. Now, this was so rigid, and the way that it was produced, not only did it look uncomfortable,
horrendous.
You could see it looked awful. And she was being criticised. And here's my question.
She was criticised, not the dress.
Exactly. She was criticised because she couldn't fit comfortably into that dress, rather than the dress being criticised. No, it was the dress was just effing ridiculous. It's nothing to do with
anybody
the size.
would have.
Yeah, she was criticised.
And my point being, where did we get to a point? Where did we get to a stage where the person wearing this ridiculous outfit is criticised rather than the ridiculous outfit? Because
she's like a beanpole.
But isn't this what we're facing?
She's like a beanpole.
Isn't this what we're facing as women?
It's impossible. The standards are impossible.
Right. We are criticising ourselves because we don't fit into a size 10 or fit into a size 12, rather than saying it's the manufacturer and the billion-dollar industry that lives off making us feel insecure that is at fault. It's the women that are at fault, not the industry. We should be turning that around and saying, this is not what we want. Yeah. We want sizes that fit us. We want clothes that are comfortable yet sexy. We want to be able to go out feeling confident, not feeling like we're not enough.
Chin chin,
Yeah,
Trudy
thank you
Kerr,
very much
chin chin.
Chin chin. But am I not right? Have we not got it upside down?
There's also this other phenomenon of vanity sizing. Have you heard about this? So this is a thing where brands make clothes and they're bigger,
but they put them in the smaller size.
Because women want to feel good. They want to be like, oh well, I'm in a size 10, even if they're not really a size 10 or whatever.
But it's true. I mean,
I don't know. It's very interesting, as I say, because I haven't had this experience, because I kind of like, as I sort of started navigating my life and realized that, I was
as a skinny person.
No, as a plus size person.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. When I kind of like decided or made the decision that I was like, right, I am what I am. I'm plus size. I'm not trying to pretend to be something. I'm embracing this and going for it. I kind of like removed all of those sort of ideas. I decided that wasn't what I was going to kind of even engage with. Right. I was just like, if somebody was having a conversation about that kind of thing, it's just not part of my reality. Like, I wear what I wear and that's it. It doesn't have any moral binding to me. But I feel that people very much do have a moral, like this kind of emotional feeling to their size, right? With clothes. It's
Tez, do you have an emotional feeling to your size?
Yes, she does. Because when the size that you normally wear doesn't fit you, it upsets you.
But it upsets me because it's inconsistent, because you get the mediums on top of each other and you see that they are significantly not the same thing. Okay. Not because that is what pisses me off.
Okay, it's interesting. So we all have different, experiences with this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But it's like, as I said, I decided that was something that I was not going to subscribe to years ago when I kind of realized, that I couldn't fit in this and I couldn't fit in that and whatever, I was just like, I'm not engaging in that kind of conversation with myself, even like mentally. Now that I'm on the other side of it in a straight size, it still doesn't really bother me. It's more that I'm just kind of like very surprised because I will pick up something, let's say, like, I'm up top, I have a very small waist. Sometimes I'll find like a small and I'll be like, okay, this is my size. Like it feels very strange because there is some kind of link with your almost like your identity, right?
You know what I think? I'm very skeptical about so many things that women face. I always say, follow the money, be skeptical, question, find out why, who's benefiting from us feeling the way that we feel. And this is part of why we're having these conversations, why we're having this show After Hours, not just because we can sit here and swear, but that we can actually discuss these and get to the root of the problem. And with that, I'm going to ask if anybody has a last thought to throw into the table other than
LaBuBu suck.
There you go.
There you go. I just think with all of these types of situations, like you just have to approach things with a little bit of nuance and like sensibility, and just sort of I just think you can't ever take like a sweeping statement about, not about everything, but about most things, and that things have to be looked at on a case by case basis. I don't think you can just be like, this is cancelable or have this kind of like witch hunt sort of mentality. I just feel that we need to kind of be a bit more moderate in our approach. It always seems to be one way or the other.
I think that's the word. That's the key word.
Yeah.
I love that idea of being more moderate.
More moderate with things. And as I say that, as somebody who I feel very much like I'm in this kind of like splinter era of like relating or understanding a lot of like kind of what's going on with current trends and the current kind of landscape, but also seeing things from a slightly different like generation ago as well. So yeah, I just think case by case.
I don't know what to conclude on with regards to what we said, but I'm going to see the future and I'm going to say if there's anything in particular our listeners or our viewers would like us to discuss, to please comment and get in touch with us. So
I really would love to encourage everyone to comment on this. If we've said something, you agree with it, you don't agree with it, if you would like to hear more about it, if you want to get involved in this conversation, I'm really enthusiastic for people to comment.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
am
think
I.
any of us would be offended if somebody said, well, that was, somebody
Not
said
at
something
all.
as a big pile of poo.
And that's what I was coming to, in fact. I think it's very evident that it's totally okay not to agree with what somebody thinks about. I mean, very clearly, so when I didn't agree, I don't know if we disagreed on certain things, but very clearly you can have a conversation with somebody and you don't have to convince them that what you think is correct, and you can just listen to what they say, take it at face value, and that is it.
Yeah, and you can also have a difference in opinion.
Yes, you
with
can
someone
agree.
about something. It doesn't mean you hate them.
Disagree. I think you can
that's
agree to
it.
disagree.
Everybody has their opinion.
Absolutely.
And you're entitled to it.
So we're Gen X. So we're always right?
No, at the moment we're always wrong. But I think that life has become so stressful. I think it has become really stressful that it's like you're walking in a minefield all the time. That you're afraid to actually have an opinion. You're afraid to express your opinion. That we're ready to jump down each other's throats about having an opinion that maybe we don't agree with, or, and I think that mental health has become more, how would I explain it? More of us are suffering with our mental health. We because there's so much pressure on us, and because everything is so difficult, and because it's so hard to know which is the right way to behave, to what to say, what not to say, and whatever. And I think we all have to really realize that, like Tez says, it's really okay not to agree. It's really okay to have a difference of opinion. But there's no need to be nasty about it.
Exactly.
There's no need to go for the jugular. There's no need to hang, draw, and quarter somebody. We are all different.
Start insulting,
Yes,
and
we
calling
are
someone
all
stupid,
different.
yeah.
We are different ages. We are different. I think it's great that I'm 55, you guys are 35, and that we can sit across the table and have conversations and be friends and whatever. That, I don't have to only be with my peers age-wise, and that you don't, that even though we have a difference of opinion, that we don't have to be nasty to each other.
No, definitely.
Absolutely. Total respect. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Chin chin. Thank you, ladies. We sit down and do this again?
Yeah.
Boom. Huh.
She-word unhinged.
That was
She-word after hours.
fun. I'm still not convinced about this.